Today, we're going to talk about systems that stick. By stick, I mean something that's doable, that you can follow through. And this is very important. If you can't do it, then there is no point to the system. Why? Because system comprises of at least two things. The first thing is actions that we take. And number two is the promise that it makes. A system promises to take us to a certain place. And this place can be our dreams, our goals, somewhere where we want to be. So if it's not stickable, means we cannot reach the place that we desire either. We're not talking about a perfect system. Rather, a stickable system is one that is doable, something that we can plan. So how do we know whether it's stickable or not when we're planning it? We have a litmus test. The question that we can ask is it something that we can do only when we're feeling great? Or is it something that we can do even when our energy is low? If the answer is yes, even in our low energy days, we can do it, then it's a system that sticks. I'm not talking about carrying out every action in the system perfectly, but often what happens is that we cannot follow through with a system that we've created or that we want to follow. We repeatedly fail and punish ourselves. So what I'm saying is we need to get out of this habit of self-blame. We need to start discussing about how to plan systems that stick. Hi, I'm Pauline, and today I am going to share with you what we don't often see in discussions of productivity and creating systems that work for a long time. I will share with you what I learned about systems that work for me, even on low energy weeks, and 3 principles of making a system that will help us in all seasons of our life. But before we move to the next part of our video, I wanted to let you know that I have created a free resource for you to start creating your own system from the link in the description below. So here's my experience that taught me about systems that work. I was a young researcher juggling high-stress environment to complete my PhD. I wanted to create work-life balance to achieve my ambition without sacrificing my health anymore. I knew that a goal without a system is like having a car with no wheels. You might know exactly where you want to go, yet you cannot move. Now, what actually gets you there is the system. So I wanted to create a system that I could still work without losing my health, without gaining more weight, making my IBS any worse. So I wanted to automate work-life balance without having to constantly feel pulled in all directions all the time. I wanted some peace and freedom from planning itself when possible. So I tried a lot of different ways to create plans and systems, and it didn't work. I tried to create my meal plans, my weekly schedules, my fitness plans, but with no success. Everything I tried ended up costing me more of my time and energy. Each thing I tried was making it feel impossible to do the other. So after completing my research, my capacity to work declined due to repetitive injuries. So I had very limited time in the computer. So unlike in the past, I couldn't say I will just work harder because the more I did, the more I made my pain worse, and that had a snowball effect on my overall health, weight gain, IBS. So there was so much work and so little time. And most importantly, it felt like I would lose momentum and would never be able to finish my work if I stopped working on my projects. So every time I created a plan for my work and health, the system felt like a burden instead. So what would be the cost if I didn't succeed? Well, if I couldn't figure out a workable system, I would have to give up 10 years of my work, give up my PhD, or continue to rapidly lose my health to chronic pain, chronic stress, IBS, burnout, and additional weight gain. That's when I remembered what one coach had told me in my first year of grad school. It told me that we need to work with what we have in terms of time. So we only have 24 hours in a day. I was in my first year of PhD, and my seniors had empathized with me that with so much to do in so little time, it is very hard in the first year. And then they were very honest. They said that they wished they could say that things would get better in the upcoming years, but no, it was only going to get more demanding over time. So then I realized that the secret to creating a system was a system that would work with me would be the system that supports me through my worst time and low energy. I want to share these 3 principles for creating the systems that support us through all seasons of our life, not only the best seasons. The first principle for me is understanding the mismatch. What often happens is this. We decide to create a system so that we don't have to rely on motivation all the time. That sounds great. Yet, even with planning and structure, the system still starts to break down. The reason is mismatch. So, mismatch happens when a system requires a certain amount of energy, time, and focus from us, but we do not always have the same amount to give. So, when we cannot meet those demands, the system collapses and it stops supporting us and starts stressing us. So, to fix this, we need to flip the question we usually ask. Instead of asking how much energy we can give to the system, we need to ask how the system can support us at different energy levels. For me, planning should function as a support, not as a pressure. So let me give you an example. I have health issues, as I've told you, IBS and other stuff. So when I'm stressed and short on time, my health gets worse. My meal planning could help me feel better, yet meal planning itself takes energy, time, and mental effort. And when I'm already exhausted, that planning adds stress. So that's a mismatch. The better question becomes this: how can I create a plan that actually supports my recovery instead of draining me further? I've created a free resource for you. Grab it from the link in the description below. The second principle is bouncing back. So this builds directly onto the first point. In real life, no system runs perfectly. You will miss days, you will mess up routines, things will fall apart. But that does not mean the system has failed if it's a system that's going to work with you through all seasons of your life. What matters is how quickly the system allows you to return. Progress is not about never falling, it's about how often we can fall, stand back up, and keep going. I love using the analogy of climbing El Capitan. It's one of the hardest climbs in the world. One climber managed to free solo it without ropes, which is incredible. Yet, we have to understand that he did not succeed it on the first attempt. He practiced the route again and again, and he learned every grip. He made mistakes in training so that he could improve. So basically, he didn't go without any safety gears in his first go. He had safety gears on, and he had the opportunity to make mistakes and grow from them when he was practicing. Life works the same way. Even with a system and a plan, mistakes are part of the process. A good system makes space for those mistakes and helps you recover instead of giving up. So if this concept is vibing with you, here's a resource you can use to get started. The third principle is building systems that reduce decision fatigue. On low energy days, the hardest part is deciding. Every decision drains energy. A supportive system removes as many decisions as possible ahead of time. Planning is not the opposite of flexibility. Deciding in advance does not trap you, and it actually frees you. So when life feels uncertain, when health fluctuates, when energy comes and goes, and there's no knowing how much you're going to have, planning becomes even more valuable. It creates stability inside uncertainty. Now, here's an example. During my graduate school years, I wanted to stay fit. My fitness coach explained that most people skip workouts not because they do not care, but because they have not decided in advance what they're going to eat. They forget to eat, and energy drops, and suddenly exercise feels quite hard. So when we decide meals ahead of time, the workout decision becomes much more easier. So I experienced the same thing during my dissertation writing as well. My energy was low, my physical ability to work was very less, and my working window at the computer was so minimal. So the only way I could move forward was by deciding in advance exactly what I would work on during each session. Now, that planning did more than improve my productivity. It made me happier, I felt satisfied, and I could stay present instead of constantly worrying about what to do next. So the system supported me even at my lowest. Now that you know the three principles, designing for energy mismatch, building bounce back capacity, and reducing decision fatigue through intentional planning, you might be wondering how such a system, built this way, stops demanding and starts supporting us where we are. In my next video, I will show you how they help us move forward even when conditions are far from perfect. See you in my next video.